Hey, hello chess lovers, and welcome back to Chess Way. In this video, we are going to break down a super interesting chess game played between Teimour Radjabov and Olexandr Bortnyk. This game happened on December 26, 2006. All right, the game starts with knight to f3 and d6, then d4 and knight to f6. White continues with pawn to g3 and pawn to g6. Both players preparing a fianchetto and short castling. So, of course, bishop g2 and bishop g7. But Radjabov chooses pawn to b3 first. Bortnyk still castles short. And yeah, if there is a pawn on b3 in this position, that means bishop b2 is coming. Black replies with bishop to f5, and white pushes pawn to c4, controlling the d5 square, then queen to c8, maybe with the idea of bishop h3 at some moment. To prevent that, white plays pawn to h3, also preparing pawn to g4 later if he wants to go aggressive. Black pushes pawn to c5, attacking white's pawn. Radjabov ignores the pawn and plays knight to c3. Black plays knight to c6, developing and adding pressure on the d4 pawn. White continues with rook to c1, and black plays bishop to h6, attacking the rook. This is where the art begins, because Radjabov allows his rook to be taken and instead pushes pawn to d5, attacking the knight. I mean, who doesn't want to trade a bishop for a rook in the middle game, right? Bortnyk takes the rook with the bishop, and of course, white recaptures with the queen. And do you know what Radjabov is planning here? Why is he so confident sacrificing the rook for the bishop? In my opinion, it's because he has a massive idea on the king side. Look at white's position. The dark-squared bishop is perfectly placed, aiming right at the black king. The queen can go to g5 or g6 to bring huge pressure. The knight has two killer squares, h4 and g5, to help the attack. White also hasn't castled yet, which means pawns h4 and h5 can join the party with the rook sliding behind them later. On the other side, black's dark-squared bishop, the main defensive piece, is already gone. Pawn to g4 can also be played to chase the bishop. And do not forget, black's knight is still under pressure. Wow, why am I talking so much? Okay, let's continue. Here, black plays knight to d4, offering a knight trade. Radjabov instead plays pawn to g4 first, attacking the bishop. If bishop e4, then knight takes bishop, and the bishop on b2 becomes a monster. So, the bishop retreats to d7. And queen goes to h6, bringing huge pressure on the king. Black captures the knight with his knight, giving check, and white recaptures with the bishop. Now, white has the threat of knight to e4. Black tries to stop it with knight to e8, but Radjabov still plays knight to e4. Black continues with pawn to f6, blocking the bishop's diagonal. White pushes pawn to h4, but by doing that, he leaves the g4 pawn undefended. So, of course, Bortnyk takes the pawn with the bishop, activating the bishop again. Radjabov stays laser-focused on his idea, pawn to h5. And after pawn takes pawn, knight to g5, sacrificing the knight. But this creates the insane threat of queen takes pawn on h7, checkmate. The best move for black is rook to f7. If knight takes the rook, then king takes knight or queen to f5. But here, Bortnyk accepts the sacrifice and takes the knight with the pawn. And guys, this is a brilliant idea by Teimour Radjabov. Look at this. After this moment, black's moves are completely forced. Queen takes pawn, check. Black cannot block with the knight because queen takes knight is checkmate, so the king must go to f7. It looks like white has no more checks, right? Oh my god, but Radjabov continues the attack with queen takes pawn, check! Another sacrifice! Black cannot play king to g8 because queen takes h7 is checkmate. So the bishop must take the queen. White recaptures with the bishop, check. Again, forced move, king g8. Rook to g1, check. The king cannot move, so the knight must block. Rook takes knight, check. Forced king h8, rook takes e7 with the discovered check. Now black has two options, block with the rook or king to g8. Let us analyze. If king to g8, then rook to g7, check, king to h8, rook to g5, check, rook blocks, bishop takes rook, checkmate. Okay, back to the game. So black plays rook to f6, bishop takes rook, check, forced king to g8, rook to g7, check, king cannot go to h8 because rook to g5, checkmate, so forced king to f8. Rook takes h7, and now the threat of rook to h8 checkmate cannot be stopped. If the king moves, he can only go to g8, and rook to h8 is still checkmate. There is absolutely no way to defend this checkmate in this position. And of course, a player like Bortnyk knows this threat, but he still plays queen to f5. And boom! Radjabov plays rook to h8, checkmate! Absolutely brilliant! I am 100% sure Bortnyk allowed the checkmate instead of resigning because he was shocked and appreciated the genius idea from Radjabov. Guys, let's go back. That knight sacrifice leads to a 14-move forced checkmate if black plays all the best moves. Absolutely brilliant! And alright guys, that is it for this video. If you enjoy chess videos like this, please click like and also subscribe to this channel so I can be even more excited to make more chess videos for you. If there are any mistakes, I apologize. Thank you, chess lovers.